Hey everybody, if you're tuning in, thank you, or if you're going to watch the recorded video, thank you as well. Tonight I just wanted to go over a few life updates and also talk about men in BPD. I'm starting a new job tomorrow, so that's great. Great news, very excited for this new chapter in my life. It's going to provide some normalcy, some balance, and most importantly, it's going to provide some cash, and I like cash. So another thing too this week is I'm meeting with Mayor County, and I'll be meeting with him Wednesday night after work, and we'll be talking about the lack of resources. My short time out on the streets, the lack of resources that the city is providing, tearing down the tent camps and so forth. And then also talking about a little bit of borderline personality disorder awareness, I'm hoping. So I have a little presentation prepared for him already, and I'm hoping that I could get a good 30 minutes with him. Also, I went to the March on the Capitol for Mental Health tonight, and that was absolutely awesome. It was a great event. There was hundreds of people there, a lot of conversations, talking to people who had the same disorder, different disorders, talking about the lack of resources in our state and being dead last. And this was a great opportunity for people to come together, and it was just a really great feeling, a warm, fuzzy feeling to be with a bunch of people who are passionate about the same cause. So great times there. I'll jump right into the topic, I guess, for tonight is men and borderline personality disorder. I'm not going to go in about, talk deeply about what it's like to live with the disorder. I'm going to go a little different route. And just a disclaimer that these are my opinions and my opinions only, but I know everybody's not going to agree, and that's okay. Also, any statistics that I would provide, they do vary depending upon the source as well. So, with that said, roughly 75% of women are diagnosed with that's the wrong way to say it. Out of people diagnosed that have BPD, 75% are women, 25% men. And that has nothing to do with heredity. First of all, men are built a little bit differently, and obviously, and I understand that. And although our culture has changed quite a bit over the past half century in terms of gender roles, we still have a long way to go in terms of accepting men who may be more sensitive and emotional and not the macho type. So our society, through media and just in general, still puts the expectations on men to be stronger, not reach out for help, not cry or show any emotions at all. So according to a study published by Psychotherapy years ago, out of the people that were utilizing outpatient therapy services, 66% of those were women, 33% or 34% were men. And this is, bottom line, it's unacceptable. And so many times men don't feel like they have, because of what I talked about, the reason why we're built differently and the stereotypes and expectations of men in society and in media, they, instead of going seeking help, they end up taking different paths than women. And also, according to good old Wikipedia, and I love Wikipedia, the male incarceration rate is nearly 14 times greater for men than it is for women. And if you just look at the DSM-5 and the criteria for BPD, you'll see that number 4 describes the impulsivity for self-damaging behavior, such as substance abuse, among other things. And number 8, which talks about the inappropriate, intense anger, which may lead to lashing out, physical fights, or just general violence. So many times, instead of therapy, men will decide they're going to fill that void somehow. Everybody, with a mental illness is going to find some way to fill that void internally. And what they do is they'll lash out, or they'll become addicts or alcoholics, or end up in jails many times. They might end up in, like I said, addiction, 12-step programs, jails, or even suicide. So in addition to that, according to National Institute of Mental Health, between like the local, the state, and the federal prisons, it's estimated that 50 to 65% or more of inmates have mental health issues. So what happens in our system is they're pushing medications, treating the symptoms such as addiction, depression, anger, substance abuse, and anxiety. And in most jails, they aren't even treating any of that. And I understand that not everybody is BPD, not everybody in those institutions are BPD, but if they are truly BPD and only BPD, then what they're doing is putting a Band-Aid on, and they're administering treatment that has not been proven to be effective for this disorder. There are no FDA-approved medications for this disorder, and basically there are effective forms of treatment out there, but the key is to correctly diagnose. So we need the correct diagnosis and the treatment in order to recover, bottom line. And unfortunately, Band-Aids fall off, and the wound may be too great or deep for some, and which may cause early death if they don't know what illness that they truly have. So for men, we need to open up. We need to break down the barriers, accept that we're human, accept help, demand a proper diagnosis by sitting with a licensed mental health professional, going through the DSM, and then after that, after we have the correct diagnosis, we need to speak up about, and demand that we have adequate treatment in our state and our country. It's all about supply and demand. And, there are roughly 4 to 6 million people right now diagnosed with borderline personality disorder in our country. And obviously, like I'd mentioned before, that number is severely low because of the misdiagnosis with bipolar, PTSD, depression, addiction, a whole lot of things. So, and what happens is, because of that misdiagnosis, like I said, there's just not enough demand for those treatment centers. So it all starts with the correct diagnosis. But even then, I was a man that was literally at death's door for quite a while. I did reach out, I did make the phone calls, and I cried and begged for my life, and that is no exaggeration. I've had mental health professionals cry on the phone with me because I just wanted to live, and I wanted to be given a chance. And I didn't want to be given a chance to go to a general psychiatric center and learn how to deal with depression, because I don't have depression. What I wanted to do is I wanted the effective treatment in order for me to turn my life around and manage the symptoms, because I can't take a pill in order to do that. So basically, out of the very few, residential treatment centers that are in our country that do specialize in BPD, the vast majority are only for adolescents and for women. And that goes back to the supply and demand. If 75% of women are diagnosed versus 25% men, of course it's going to be like that. But basically the ones that I did contact and was potentially able to go to, they were requiring tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, we're talking $35,000 to $50,000 cash, accepting no insurance. So that's what I was left with. Many of our men are living in misery on a daily basis and dying every day. And they are family members or loved ones. They have no clue why. And I'm not a licensed mental health professional. I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, or a psychiatrist, but I do recognize a problem when I see it. And that's exactly why I'm raising awareness for this particular disorder today. So thanks everybody for listening, and I hope you have a great week ahead. And of course, go Cubs.